Welcome back, everybody, to the Fighting for Freedom podcast. I just want to say thank you to everybody for all your love and support. You guys have helped this channel grow dramatically. If you could please, at this time, drop us a like, comment, subscribe, share our podcast, turn on those bell notifications, and leave us a rating and good review. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Fighting for freedom, one podcast at a time.
What up, what up? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode on the Fighting for Freedom podcast. Today I'm joined by one of my good friends, right? So during COVID, everything was locked down, times were shitty, and what do you really have to do when you're on deployment, stuck in a barracks room, other than play video games? So the man I have on today's pod, we would play Xbox and rage at every grown man, 12-year-old. We didn't discriminate. Whoever you were, if you were playing Search and Destroy on Piccadilly, it was on. It was on. Hayden, how you doing today, brother man?
Good, Vinny, giddy. Oh, dude, I totally messed that up.
That's all right, bro. We're all human, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm good, man. Thanks. Yeah, that was a crazy time they were playing that Call of Duty. Remember the Australian guys?
Oh, because we were in like Japan, so we would like kind of be in their servers, right?
Yeah, it was all like Southeast Asia, Australia, the Philippines. But I remember the Australian dudes. You'd say something super nice, like, "Hey, good game." Oh, god damn it! I hate you.
Hey,
a lot of stuff worse than that.
You fucking Yankees. Yeah, wasn't there actually something going on in America too? Like there was like fires or something, and they were like, "I hope your fucking country burns." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
What was it? I think their country was burning for a while. I think we were telling them that their country needed to burn because we had our firefighters going out to Australia to help them.
Okay, that's what it was then. Okay,
and they were being mean to us. They were being so mean to us.
Yeah. Like we're just trying to play. Yeah, that's right. Though we would like, like a friendly conversation, like, "How's your day going?" And all of a sudden it was, "Shut up, Yankee." Oh, okay. Now, okay.
Well, especially with your accent, they freaking sniffed you out quick.
Yeah. But we had a good squad. There was a lot of us who would get on and just make time go by because honestly, like there was nothing to do. Like we weren't allowed to go nowhere. You were allowed to go outside, but you have to like wear a mask. So could you imagine like going for a run with a mask? That doesn't.
I remember, dude. I remember me and my buddy were going out for a run. And the word was if you were running with someone, you could take your mask off, but only once you were physically running. And me and my buddy went out and we're walking, about to go on a run. Like we're about to press the button on our watch. And some mass chief is like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" We're like, "We're going for a run." He's like, "Masks on before you start your run." We're like, "We're roommates." He was like, "I don't care."
Yeah.
Like, dude, this is so stupid.
Yeah, and then because I used to go for a run like with a running partner during then too, and you had to like keep a social distance while you were running too. Like you couldn't run next to them and talk to them. Like, what's the fun in that? Like going for a run by yourself when you have headphones in, that's one thing, right? But like when you're with somebody, like you go for a run or a jog or whatever it is, and you bullshit the whole time. Keep each other occupied. But could you imagine me and you went for a run together and like we're 6 feet apart and then I can't talk to you? Or if I wanted to, I had to scream at you.
Yeah, like what are we trying to do? Work on our quiet time skills?
Yeah. Well, anyway, Hayden, I want to kind of introduce you to the people, and I kind of want to hear your story. So, you're born and raised where?
I was born at Camp Lejeune. My dad was in the Marine Corps. And shortly after I was born, I think 2 years after I was born, he got out and moved back to what I would consider my home state is California. and stayed there for a while. Parents separated when I was pretty young. So I ended up moving to Texas with my mom and stepdad, lived there for 7 years, go home and visit my dad in California and the good part of California. I'm talking about Northern California.
Mm-hmm.
And then I lived in North Carolina for another 4 years before I enlisted in the Navy.
Wow. So the Navy helps you like travel and see different states, but prior to your enlistment, you were already doing that. But
Oh yeah.
you were born on Camp Lejeune, so you knew, because like one of my next questions was like, what influence did your friends or family have on you? But I guess for someone who was born on a military installation, yeah, you kind of got no choice.
Yeah, it was, my whole childhood. My dad, he's like 6'3", 6'4", this big dude, and he's always like, Marine Corps, Marine Corps, you gonna join the Marine? He doesn't have a Southern accent, but to me in my head he does. And he's always talking about the Marine Corps and always saying I needed to join the Marine Corps. And, for the longest time I thought I was going to. And then, I started seeing some cool Navy commercials, and my little prepubescent self was like, oh, Navy, man. And now I'm here, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's definitely, like there's different like paths that you can go in the Navy to make it more of like, I guess, I don't want to say like military-ish ordeal, but, like
Kind of what it is, though.
compared to the Marines, I'll take the Navy all day long. Plus, I wouldn't want to roll my sleeves every day. That's just, and their tattoo policy, probably not ideal for me. I'm not going to lie.
No, I generally would consider you to be one of the most tattooed people I've ever met, so I don't think that would work too well for you.
Yeah, hey, they're fun. I want to get to the point where people say, "How many tattoos do you have?" And I can just say, "I have one." Yeah.
One big tattoo.
Yeah, they're all connected. I just have one. But all right, so you see some cool Navy commercials, maybe dress up for like as a sailor for Halloween one year, walk into a recruiter's office, and how does that go for you?
Well, so, parents convinced me I wanted to enlist out of high school, and my parents convinced me to, hey, you need to go to school, you need to get an education. And I was like, you know what, guys, I live with you right now, so I'll listen to you.
Yeah.
So I started the school thing, was going fine, and then I moved from a community college in Charlotte to the university in Wilmington, North Carolina. And I was about a semester in, working, trying to make ends meet, and trying not to like rely on my parents for anything. So, working, trying to get the schoolwork done, everything. And I was just like, you know what? I never wanted to do this, and I still don't want to do this. And started to like, reconsider the whole Navy thing again. And I just decided that I would just enlist and kind of listen to where my heart was going. I just was at that point in my life, I was so disinterested in school. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me. And, I was, not making a lot of money. So it wasn't like I was having the best time. All these kids were in frats and stuff and partying it up. I didn't know where any of the parties were. I lived off campus with my cousin. I just like cooked cheap steaks from Food Lion and just, it wasn't like the coolest experience ever. So it wasn't something I was really leaving behind.
I got you. I've actually, I've heard of Food Lion before, and now where I'm at, we have Food Lion, and like what I heard about it was that it was like a cheap grocery store, and I was like,
Yes.
well, how cheap could it be? So I went in there, and it's pretty fucking, it's pretty fucking cheap. It's pretty cheap because I got like a Wegmans nearby, and Wegmans is fancy. They have like $15 sushi, like gas station sushi, but it's like quality. And a thing of milk is like I don't know. It's very expensive. I shop at Food Lion, man. I ain't a hater, because if I'm gonna put cheap food in my body or expensive food in my body, it's all gonna come out the same way,
Oh yeah, dude. That's what you got to think. It's like that's coming out in maybe tops 2 days.
Yeah.
It's really like putting gas in your car. Oh, here's
Exactly.
$80. I can't wait to just literally let this go into the air just so I can make it somewhere. And I remember, I think I was doing $50 for like a week and a half or 2 weeks worth of eating. It was something crazy. I was buying those real thin, no fat, like no juiciness steaks, and I was throwing that in ramen noodles and what else was that? PB and J sandwiches. And I had one of the cards, like the rewards cards for Food Lion, so I was all set, dude.
Hey, are you a chunky or a smooth peanut butter guy?
Ooh, in a shake, I'm a smooth. On a sandwich, I'm a chunky.
Okay, all
But
right. I agree.
yeah, see, yeah.
Wait,
But it depends on the season. If it's like December, January, we got to go smooth.
Oh my god, you're on your white girl shit right now.
A pumpkin spice, boy.
Yeah, that pumpkin. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. So like, I like my coffee black, right? It depends on like like when I'm driving to work. I'll drink it black, throw like an ice cube or two in it. This way it can like be cool, so I can actually drink it and not have to like hasha it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but my wife had me like I tried a pumpkin spice latte. I mean, granted, it is very sweet, and they're like probably the worst thing for you, but they're actually pretty damn good.
It's good. I'll admit that it's good.
Yeah.
But I would never, ever let anyone that I know, actually anyone I don't know, even a homeless person, see me with one in my car while I'm driving to work. I just can't.
Especially that hoopty you got.
Oh, dude, that Pontiac G6, it's already bad enough, man.
I think that shit's divided by two. Call it a Pontiac G3.
The G6, but it's got a 4-cylinder and it burns oil, so.
Yeah. Or then, like even, I mean, I get it. Like when you have like a certain type of car, maybe you have to put like expensive gas in it. But like, I don't know, regular does the same shit as super, so I don't.
If I had a Jaguar, I'd put the good gas in it, but this thing deserves dirt in the gas tank, honestly.
Yeah. You know when a Jaguar goes out and like, it's hungry and it goes to like hunt? Well, your car is what a Jaguar hunts.
Oh, there's a weak, disgusting little animal. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I think it's called a G3. I don't know.
It's definitely disease ridden and easy to take.
Oh man! All right, so you walk into your Navy recruiter's office. Do you have any plan? Do you have any research behind you, or you're just like military? How do I get in there?
So the only reason I chose the Navy was, those commercials I was talking about and the books I was reading. It was because I joined because I wanted to be a Navy SEAL, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I did a decent amount of research. I walked in there with a solid plan, knowing exactly what I wanted to do. There was no other, hey man, this job's leaving early and you have a bonus. It was none of that. It was, I knew what I wanted to do. I walked in there, and started getting through the process, which is very lengthy. The enlistment process there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of stuff like that. But, and for us going into special programs, which would be SEAL, SWIC, EOD, Navy diver, and air rescue, to get a contract, we have to do what's called a PST, physical screening test, which is, I guess, just a step above your normal Navy PRT. So it's, the swim, the push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups, and then a run. And then you got to get good enough scores to do that. And then you get into like a nationwide draft, essentially. And if you have good enough scores, they pick you up, and then you get your date and all that stuff to leave for boot camp. But yeah, I knew what I wanted to do, and that was the only reason I was there. But yeah.
All right. Do you have like prep for that? Like when you walk in, you're like, "Hey, I want to do this." They're like, "All right, let's start the paperwork." But in the meantime, you have to go do all this. Or you yourself, Hayden, was like, "All right, I need a routine. I need a plan. I need to start like getting my body physically ready right now."
Yeah. So there's two sides to that. There's what the Navy is going to do for you while you're waiting to leave, and then there's what you have to do for yourself. Every 2 weeks, I believe it was. That was a long time ago now. That was like 7 years ago, but I believe it was every 2 weeks. We did a PST. So we did the 500 yard swim and the push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups and run, a mile and a half run. And then after we did that stuff, we had like this guy who was called I think he was called a motivator or something like that. Generally, it was either a SEAL SWIC EOD guy or someone along the lines would come and he proctored the whole test, and then he would put you guys through workouts, some sort brick treads or doing flutter kicks on the side of the pool with fins on or whatever it was to kind of try to get you mentally prepared for what you're going to be doing when you got out of boot camp and into an actual buzz class. And on the side, I'm trying to implement all that stuff I'm doing every 2 weeks with my own consistent training, swimming. I didn't know how to do the combat side stroke. So I had to get in the pool and find good programming and start getting that knocked out. Run. I ran cross country in high school, so the run wasn't a super hard thing for me to get knocked down. Mm-hmm. Definitely wasn't where I wanted to be when I started training, but I ended up getting there. And then push-ups was the thing I had a big problem with. I've always just had a weak chest, I guess. I just probably suck or something. But I really had to get the push-ups down, so I was doing, at one point leading up to the PST, I ended up getting contracted off. I was doing like upwards of 400 push-ups a day. I worked at IHOP at the time, and I would just go in the back room where all the dry storage stuff was and just sit there and do push-ups between tables and stuff like that, because I just had to get my body super used to those. And then, just consistency, just running all the time, swimming all the time. I met up with a pretty solid group of dudes that were all interested in doing the same thing, and we're all in different parts of the enlistment process, so we would work out together a lot. Go to the beach a lot. I was making just barely enough money so that I could feed myself and put gas in the truck and pay rent, and then I was working out the rest of the time.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, obviously, you go to, your motivator, right? You do what you got to do, but then you still live your life, right? Like, you still got bills to pay. You still got, if people are still in school or have a job, like, you go into the military for maybe a couple hours every 2 weeks, but then you have to actually live like Hayden's life, and figure your shit out. So yep. You finally get your date, right? You said you got selected, you got picked.
Yep, and then, got my date.
And then you leave for boot camp. And now, when you're in boot camp, you're in like the 800 divisions, right? You're in like the more advanced boot camp.
Yeah. So I'm in 800 division is basically everyone that's going either SEAL, SWIC, EOD, Navy diver, and air rescue. All 5 of those. And it's just a conglomeration of all these different types of guys. But generally not going to have you're not going to have any females in a male division, but just a bunch of dudes that are like all jacked and motivated and ready to go. It was a pretty cool experience. When I got to boot camp is where I realized that like I might be behind the curve a little bit. Some of these guys were, college graduates. A lot of them were college graduates. Some of them were Division I athletes, whole 9 yards. And here's like little skinny Hayden who like was barely able to do the push-ups he needed to do. But boot camp was hilarious.
Yeah, they have, like obviously most of us, majority of the people who enlist in the military go through the basic boot camp, right? But then there's the exception with, the jobs you just said to include yourself. So, yeah, and you said it was fun and it was hilarious. I kind of am curious because I heard some crazy stories where, when you guys wake up early and go for runs and I'm still shaving my face and you guys are taking like the protein bars and shoving them in the VCR to eat them in the middle of the night. Like that last part of boot camp where like your chief is like, all right, if you want to tell me something, you're not going to get in trouble. Go ahead, tell me. Was there anything you said or somebody else said that you were like, yeah, we've been doing that for a while?
Yeah, I mean, the snack thing was prolific. Everyone was doing that. There's a lot of things I probably can't really talk about.
No, you're good. Yeah, you don't
incriminate some of my friends. But
you don't have to.
That was a fun part of boot camp, but the most fun to me was laying there at night trying to fall asleep, and the whole 70 dudes were just playing musical farts. That shit cracked me up, dude. So God. Funny.
I mean, all they do is eat protein and work out. So
we had a guy that would drink 2 glasses full of that galley chocolate milk every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And his whole corner of the room was like it was gassed out, man. It was it was so bad. It was so bad. It smelled like a sulfur factory.
Oh god, I
Yeah.
could just picture it, dude. See, you had like the smell of like, like man and just like fart. I had the smell of kids who like just didn't know how to hygiene themselves. So I don't know which one I would have preferred. Probably the probably the hygiene one because they got kicked out real quick.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. When you realize like the state of people's hygiene, you find yourself in a normal. You think whatever you do is normal, and everyone probably does something similar
Yeah.
until you have to get put with someone or a bunch of dudes that you have never met, and you're like, oh, these people don't ever brush their teeth. And you're like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, or like I don't know. It's just it was weird to see. Yeah, honestly couldn't have said it any better. Where you think everything you do is normal, but then you realize that you're in this room living with these 100 guys for the next 2 months, and you get to see everyone else's habits and what they do on a day to day basis, and you're like, damn, like maybe I'm really good at being human. I don't know.
Maybe am I better than everyone?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm also in boot camp right now, so I'm probably not better than everybody. Maybe I should
Yeah.
have just went to college. There's that one point that I wonder if you had this point. I mean, I'm sure you have. When you're in boot camp and you're either laying in your rack or you're running, or for you you're swimming or getting beat, and you're like, why the fuck am I here right now? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. I think I had quite a few of those because you just get all the propaganda before you leave, and all you're watching is like all the cool stuff, right? You're not looking up boot camp sucks. You're tired videos on YouTube.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
you're looking up like Navy shoots down Chinese, whatever the hell. And I remember we did have to do early morning workouts. It was called dive mo. And I think we were up at 3:30, maybe earlier. Maybe we had to leave at 3:30. I can't remember for sure, but I remember we were walking. I was in a winter boot camp class, so we had to walk down to what was Freedom Hall, which was like that big
Yeah, the
athletic
gym.
complex, and we'd have to go run down there. But I remember walking down there or marching in the morning, and I remember waking up once we got there. I was like, "Oh, I just slept and walked like a half mile. That can't be normal."
Yeah.
And I remember being so tired. There was snow on the ground, and I remember looking over at the parking lot that was next to the door while we were waiting to go inside. And I was just thinking to myself, like, oh, that looks like such a nice place to sleep, just right there on the cold, wet asphalt.
It probably was, man. You like the the strain that your boot camp would put on your body kind of just makes you prepare that sleeping in the military can be done anywhere.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, anywhere,
yeah.
especially while you're driving. Like, I love to sleep while I drive.
I love this. Yeah, I'm actually getting really good at it. You know what's funny too is like I know it's probably bad to say or bad to admit, but like I've done that before. Not actually sleep, but you ever like be driving straight and like you're going straight, and you kind of just close your eyes for like maybe like 3-4 seconds, take like a deep eye close, and you're like, all right, I'm good.
Every time I've driven long distance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like everyone has done it, and I'm pretty sure maybe if someone's listening right now and they're like, "Wow, I'm not the only one." Yeah, and you're probably not the only one who doesn't brush their teeth or wash
Yep,
their clothes
yep.
or use shampoo or stand underneath the water when you take a shower. Because I have definitely met some of those guys. All right, so
It's awesome.
you finally get through boot camp and you went to winter boot camp, right? So you graduate and it's still cold as shit, and
Oh yeah.
they're like, all right, you're done. Here's a manila envelope. See you later. And where do you go from there?
Well, uh, before I go anywhere else, I go to something called temporary holding unit because me and about 9 other dudes' medical paperwork got messed up because some officer was on leave and didn't sign stuff before he left on leave. So I stay at boot camp. I stay in what they call a ship, which is a building just across from my boot camp building,
Hmm.
and we all get put into this this daily cycle of you like stand watch, you clean, you do the stuff, and we're in this new compartment, which is like the big room, and this is the first time I've been around normal big Navy, which complete respect to normal big Navy. I'm in it now, but at the time, after being surrounded by a bunch of pretty solid dudes going to this, it blew my mind. There was guys walking around in furry costumes and Pokemon onesies, and people were playing Magic the Gathering, and it just was a big culture shock to me. And I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So me and my guys, really, we were at medical every day, just hounding these people. They were like, "What are you guys doing here?" We need papers, and we ended up getting them to get that stuff signed in about 5 or 6 days, thankfully.
Sweet. Okay, good.
So then me and those guys went and joined our class at Bud's Prep. This is back when Bud's Prep was in Great Lakes. So you go from the recruit training base, and we just drive right across the street to go to the big side, Great Lakes, where all the A schools are. And we start Bud's Prep. First thing is a PST. Got to do another PST when you check in. That goes well. And then continues on 2 months of what is supposed to prepare you for, or help prepare you for buds. Just because you kind of like lose a lot of your strength and stuff in boot camp because you're not really working out very hard, even with the extra PT in the mornings. And a lot of guys really lost a lot of strength and stamina and stuff. So basically what that was for. A lot of swimming. If I remember correctly, swimming basically every day, running basically every day, long runs on Fridays, weightlifting, the whole 9 yards, getting accustomed to the fins, getting your ankles broken in, doing brick treads, anything you can think of, all in order to prepare you for going to Coronado.
And how long is that process? How long are you across the street for?
That's 2 months. 2 months,
okay.
and then you either fly or drive down to Coronado.
But you have like a little bit of freedom at that point, where like you're in the you're in the Navy, you're in your prep, so like you're able to like, when you're done with, I guess, class, I will say, right? You're able to like go about your day and live your life, right?
Yeah, for the most part, there's still watch and duty and all that kind of stuff, and that's on obviously a rotation. If you're trying to go off base, you firstly have to have off base liberty, so you have to get a secondary phase status, which at that time required I think it required a uniform inspection in all 4 uniforms and 3 outstanding room inspections. And the class before mine had gotten in big trouble, so for their liberty status and stuff, and some signatures that were not verified. So me and a bunch of the other guys were like, I'm just not going off base. But on base, we were cool to go down to get Panda Express or do whatever we needed to do, shop around, go to the gym alone. Didn't need a buddy for that, from what I remember. Yeah, no, we didn't. I just walk around base with my headphones on and listen to Joe Rogan podcast for 4 hours.
Hey, Joe Rogan podcast by day.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan podcast. Honestly, Joe Rogan, all night. Yeah, all night. Yeah, Joe Rogan is honestly literally the man. He'll never hear this. Oh, I'm choking right now. Maybe he will hear it. Maybe that's Joe Rogan putting me in a sleeper hole right now.
Yeah, he's using them shroom texts to get you from afar.
Yeah. Nah, that is definitely like my daily driver. And if you're listening to this podcast and you enjoy it, I'm not saying put Joe Rogan behind me, but yeah, put Joe Rogan behind me and listen to Fighting for Freedom. And then when we run out of episodes here, then you can go to Joe Rogan.
Yeah, there we go.
But
then
yeah,
you can start backlogging on Joe Rogan.
Exactly. Joe Rogan he'll always be there. Dude, I'm still choking over here. I feel like I think he's really behind me. No, he's not.
He needs some milk.
Yeah, dead ass. So I was kind of curious, like what outside of Great Lakes was, like outside of the base, because when you graduate, your family comes and they pick you up and you get to like go out for like a couple hours or whatever. I don't know what outside of Great Lakes looks like. I don't know if there's a gas station. I don't know if there's like a McDonald's. Like I have no clue. That's why I was asking. I was curious. Like, is there anything like around there, or is the base just in the middle of nowhere?
Have you ever seen a pile of dog shit?
No.
Looks just like that.
Looks just like that. Okay, but it has a Panda Express nearby.
No, there's a Panda Express on base.
Yeah.
Outside of base, it's might as well be like an episode of Fargo, especially in the winter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I actually went on leave.
Would you want to go out?
No, I had to go on leave right after I got to prep because it was winter stand down, and I ended up coming back from leave, and I didn't want to check in that night for some reason, so I got a hotel a couple miles from base, and me and my buddy got a hotel there together actually, and then he hung out at the hotel with me. Sorry, he hung out at the hotel with me until late night, and then he ended up getting a ride back to base. I slept there all night and was getting ready to get an Uber, and because it was literally nothing but cornfields out there, the Uber was going to be $80 just to go like 2 miles to base. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing that. So I decided, this was one of the stupidest things I've ever done in my life. I decided that I was going to walk 2 miles in my wood-bottomed cowboy boots back to base because that's all I had. And I got back, and my heels had completely rubbed off, like completely. Oh. And I started Bud's prep with heels that were non-existent and was in pain for like 2 weeks, just duck walking around until they loosened up enough for the day, and then restarting that cycle every morning. So yeah, that was pretty stupid. But to your question, there's nothing out there. There's a mall like maybe 10 miles away, and last I saw, there's like a lot of child predators there. They get caught on YouTube, so it's just not a great place, man. Like it just isn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, bases are usually put like in, I don't know, areas like that, but just more like secluded areas, just because it's one, cheaper for the land, and two, it gives jobs to the surrounding communities to help make their community and their land like a little bit more wealthier and
100%. It definitely brings in a lot of industry. It definitely does. All the people that got to work on base. I mean, it's great for that kind of stuff. And the area immediately surrounding base isn't bad, but outside of that, it's It's cornfields. It's rural America. It's Central America. So not Central America like Central America, but
I like corn.
The Midwest.
Somebody's got to grow it. Yeah, exactly.
It's corn.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like corn. All right.
Got the lumpy knobs.
Yeah. So you take your ass and your wood cowboy boots and your broken heels, and after you finish prep, you end up going to Coronado, right?
No, sir. Prep is where my story ended.
Okay.
There's something called the exit PST, which is the last physical screening test you got to take after you or before you leave to Coronado. I had problems with push-ups all through prep. I gained like 14 pounds in boot camp because I had gotten 3 solid meals for the first time that were very calorically dense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And my push-up numbers dropped significantly right after boot camp, so I spent all of prep trying to rekindle those or regrow those numbers. And just didn't end up happening, man. When you do your PST there, at the end, your first warning on form is a warning. The second one is you stand up, and whatever score you have is the score you have. And yeah, I was 6 shy, and there was some confusion because my partner wasn't really sure what the count was, I think, and I was sure what the count was. They told me just to continue on, and they were going to check the camera footage later that day to see if it was, the right number of push-ups or not. And I knew in my heart of hearts that it wasn't because I was counting in my head. So I ended up going up to one of the instructors and quitting just because I'd rather just do it on my own terms and not have to have them come to me at 9 o'clock that night and tell me that I'm no longer in the program. So, and then I got put in another holding unit.
All right, well, hold on. I'm just going to stop you right there. I just want to say I give you the utmost respect and courage for not having somebody come up to you and calling you a liar, but for you to go up to somebody and probably swallow all of, your whatever that word is, your manhood and just be like, hey man, like I didn't do it. Like I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and make this guy feel like he can't count. I'm just going to tell you straight up. So I give you the utmost respect for that. But continue.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. It's a complicated story to tell. People don't usually understand. Why didn't you just see what happened? Because they have a damn camera there. It's not hard to count. So
yeah,
it's pretty easy to sit there for a couple minutes and count someone's push-ups from the camera screen. But I appreciate that, Vinny. So after that, you go to a holding unit, which is what you do if you quit through any part of the BUDS, any special war pipeline. You go to a holding unit, and then eventually you get a list of jobs you can pick that are in the rest of the Navy. You don't just get to go back home. Just because you stopped doing that thing you wanted to do doesn't mean that you get to go home and go back to school. You are still obligated to some sort of term of enlistment. So I got a job list, and I got locations, and I kind of, I was like, oh, Spain, that sounds cool. Sure. But in my head, I knew, like, I'm not going to get this. Like, there's no way. And then my official job list ended up coming in, and it was either construction electrician or culinary specialist.
Ooh.
I had two options.
They really, really narrowed it down for you there, huh?
Oh, dude. I remember I had heard about CB jobs, but I didn't know that electrician was a CB job. So I asked the detailer, he wasn't really a detailer, but whatever he was some sort of PS or something. And then I was like, hey, what's this CE job? And I don't know anything, dude. He's like, that's a CB job. I was like, oh, can I sign this right now? He was like, yeah, sure. So signed that, got that done because I knew what a culinary specialist was, and I was not going to do 4 years in the Navy cooking.
Could you imagine, dude? Especially like me knowing you and like, your work ethic and, your capabilities, dude, you'd go crazy. You'd go crazy.
No, I couldn't do it, dude.
I bet you'd put your head into that fryer before you put potatoes into that fryer.
Oh, I'd be coming out looking like Two-Face Harvey Dent. I'd do something.
Hey, shout out the greatest movie of all time, man. Yeah. I said it. The Dark Knight. That is the greatest movie of all time. But anyway, yeah, continue. So you signed for CE.
So I signed for CE. Good to go. And this is the thing at that time, man. Like, no one tells you anything. They didn't teach you anything in boot camp about how to use like all the Navy interfaces on the internet and stuff. You don't know where to look for anything. All you know is what website to get on to do your annual NKOs, right?
Yeah, I had no clue what my Navy portal was until someone was like, "Go update your NFAS." And I was like, "What the fuck's an NFAS?"
The hell is that shit?
Yeah.
And so I asked someone about a month after I signed that contract. I was like, "Hey, where do we go to figure out when we're getting orders to go to this other place we're supposed to go to?" And he's like, "Oh, you don't know? You have to check this website." And I was like, "Oh, great." So I checked the website. I'm leaving the next day. I have to leave Chicago to go to Wichita Falls, Texas to go to A school. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I have a lot of stuff to figure out right now because I had no idea. I'm like just hanging around. I'm not even showing up to the duty musters. Like we were supposed to go muster with this dude and go like do on working parties. I literally didn't go the entire month. I wake up at like 8 o'clock, go hang out at the library, read some book about like diesel trucks or something stupid, go to the theater, sit there for 4 hours, work out. It was honestly a really fun month. But so I had no idea. So I get all my stuff together, get plane tickets like then, and then the next day I'm leaving for Wichita Falls.
You got to Wichita Falls when? Yeah, because I'm trying to think. Like, were we in the same? Like, I don't like remember.
No, I think you left in like January or December. You were just a little bit ahead of me.
I left in February. Yeah.
Okay, like I got there March 2nd.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, I checked in to my command after that. I think March 8th, and I just showed up. Like no one. Kind of the same ordeal like you had where like you had no clue, but it was where my command had no clue where I had like a sponsor or whatever and I didn't know how to do anything. right? Like, and they gave like the Navy gave me a plane ticket and gave me an address to the base where I was going. And I was like, okay, so they know I'm coming if they gave me this plane ticket.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I show up to base. It's like 8-9 o'clock at night. Hebe was there actually and showed me like
no way.
Because he was like me and him were at the airport together from ECS because I had to go to ECS first, right? So I'm with Hebe, and all of a sudden, this like van pulls up, and these two Navy guys hop out, and they're like, "Which one's Tristan?" And I'm like, "Him." And they're like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I don't know where I'm going, dude. Like, I don't even know what state I'm in right now." I was like, "This is California," and they're like, "Yeah, what battalion?" So I told them what battalion, and they were like, "Well, you're not on the list, but we can give you a ride." And I was like, yeah. Well, how the fuck else am I gonna get? Is there another plane that's gonna take me? Like, we're in the military, don't we? Can't we just land the plane on the base? Yeah, no, it don't work like that, right? Yeah.
Where's my Black Hawk helicopter? Come on, man.
I mean, yeah. Or do I get on a ship now? Like, how does this work? You know?
Like, best we can do is Frontier Airlines to LAX, bud.
Hey, it's better than Spirit. But yeah, so I showed up and no one had any clue I was there. So I kind of just like went like 1 or 2 days just in a barracks room. The command still thinks I'm in Mississippi, and I'm just chilling. And then eventually, like, because I was on like a Saturday, and then like Monday morning, I texted like my sponsor, and I was like, "Hey, like, where do I go?" And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "I'm in my barracks room." And he was like, "You're here?" I was like, "Yeah, dude. Like, I don't know where to go." And he was like, "Who the fuck told you to come here?" I'm like, the piece of paper that chief gave me. Yeah. The plane ticket.
It's such a shit show when you don't think about it like that before you join, and then when you get in, you realize that like there's really not like this one system of tracking everyone perfectly, and no one cares. You're just some guy that's new showing up to a unit, and they're like, "Yeah, man, take your medical paperwork over here and like go to your room. Like, I don't care."
Yeah,
you're like, "Oh,
yeah, exactly.
This is kind of nice."
Yeah,
at boot camp, obviously everything's knocked down real tight, but once you get to your actual unit, it's a lot different.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of expecting, and like maybe like a little bit more. Oh, like I'm not saying throw me a party. I'm here, but like like as soon as I get to base, be like, all right, like nice to meet you. I'm so and so you've been talking to. Like, let's go. I'm like, okay, like I get it. I'm an adult. I'm older. I was like 23 at that time, about to turn 24. But I was still like, yo, I'm a long ways from the Statue of Liberty. Like, I don't know where the fuck I'm going.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't know how far LAX is from Port Hueneme either. It's not like, you're just going to California and and then especially if you're driving at night, you're just driving through what you don't know is Malibu. You're literally driving through Malibu. And you're like, this is bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
And then you end up realizing that it's like one of the most popular places in the country.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
All the places where all the movies are filmed. And I'm sure you probably drove by like Nicki Minaj or something.
Yeah. So I was doing that. Like, as we were driving, like I pulled up like the maps on my phone to kind of see like where we were. All right. And we're going through Malibu, and like I realized like the beach is right here. We're right on the coast. I'm like, yo, this is great. And then they got my ass, bro. Because like you said, when it's dark out, you don't really know. So I don't know what the hell Port Hueneme is. I don't know what Oxnard is. But I know what the grade is. So when you're going over the 101 and you hit the grade and you get to see all of the lights, I'm like, wow, like this looks so cool. And then when I woke up in the morning and I realized it was like a really, really, really good neighborhood, I was like, oh, God, great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's like a little bit of neighborhood, and the rest is just strawberry fields. You're like, oh, okay, so I live on a farm now. Thanks.
Thanks, you went from corn to strawberries.
Yeah, it's literally the same thing. If I think, it kind of is a lot like Great Lakes.
Yeah, it's just now it's strawberries. I mean, I would prefer strawberries over corn. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean,
all you have to do is just wash them, and then you can eat them. You're not gonna like cook them or do anything.
It's a much better thing, honestly.
Yeah.
I really enjoy strawberries.
I really enjoy strawberries. We went from talking about buds to talking about strawberries. Have you ever tried like strawberries where you like you cut them up and then you put some like sugar over them and then you eat them like that?
Yeah, those are good. That's actually really good. My mom used to make chocolate covered strawberries like at home from scratch.
I do that sometimes for my wife. I don't like chocolate. I've like never eaten it, but I like to like make things or whatever, right? So
Yeah,
whenever my
yeah.
wife has like a bad day, like I'll make her some, and I'll be like,
What a
yeah,
good husband.
I hope it fucking tastes good. Well, I mean, it definitely gets me like like kind of like a hall pass for like 2 days where I can like go play Xbox or
Sweet.
edit some videos or just just do something.
Get a hall pass for not getting yelled at for 2 days.
Yeah, but then she's like, "Well, it expired 2 days ago." I'm like, "Well, how the fuck did that?" I got it. I got it today.
Would you like some more strawberries? No,
Yeah,
you can't do that every time, man.
yeah, yeah. You can't do that every time. Yeah, you can only spend so much money on flowers too
You
before
got to
they're just
start
like,
thinking about these things
yeah.
before you do them.
I got you some chocolate covered corn. How about that?
What? It said it was sweet corn.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't literally mean it's sweet, idiot.
Oh man, dude, that's hilarious. All right, so you're in California. It's probably not what you think it is, but you make the best of every situation, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, before California, was Wichita Falls.
Oh yeah.
And that's another one of those cities that is, hasn't seen a lot of growth in the last 40 years.
Maybe downward growth.
I would, you know what? I would say probably. Not a bad place, honestly. It's North Texas. It's pretty hot up there. There's those bugs. They're called chiggers. They bite your legs, and we were doing a lot of stuff in the grass. Those sucked, but ended up meeting a really good friend of mine. That's still a really good friend of mine. He was there from the fleet. He had done the what was that, undesignated thing, and then gone to A school there.
Yeah.
We basically just like played Nazi zombies all day and fished on the weekends.
I love it.
And it was awesome. And it was like these really crappy barracks. You stayed in them with all the mold everywhere.
Yep. Oh, dude, it was so bad.
Yeah, I remember I had to take like 2 Benadryl a night just to not wake up with like swollen eyes and a closed off throat because we were just breathing in mold.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's
I remember bringing it up to the instructors, and they're like, "Yeah, that's fine." I was like,
that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you're like, all right. So this was like, but then they moved the barracks, and now they're like nice ones, like apartment ones.
Yeah.
Were you
now
there
they're
for
the
that,
nice Air Force ones. No, I was not there for that. They did that 2 months after I left.
Well, good. Fuck off, nerd.
Yeah. Those Air Force kids really do get everything nice. I was just back in Wichita Falls earlier this year for another school, and they get to walk around with AirPods in now, in uniform.
No way.
Yeah, because I remember I'm not like the most military guy, right? Like I'm not the biggest guy on regs and stuff like that. But I do have some things in my head that I'm like, okay, that's crazy. I walk out of the galley, or they call it the DFAC, and there's a kid with both his hands in his pocket, and he's got AirPods in. And part of me for a second was like, you know what? You should just tear into this dude. You're an E5 now. Just do it. Do it one time in your career. But I'm glad I didn't, because I ended up asking someone later, and they're like, oh, yeah, they can do that now. I was like, what the hell? Like, where's our professionalism going on?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know you could do that. I mean, we all have like those icks, right? Like everyone has an ick when they see someone in uniform doing like some weird shit. Maybe, like someone's like sleeves are like rolled, but you're in the Navy. And you're like,
yeah.
Dude. But mine would be like, I just don't like when people are like, if you're walking and like on the phone, like on a phone call, then that's one thing. Then I don't really care. But if you're just walking blatantly like down a sidewalk, just buried in your phone, like texting or like on Instagram or something, I'm like, dude, it's a phone, not a lifeline. Like, put it away.
Yeah. There is, and there's a whole other different topic I could get into, but I do believe in professionalism and professional appearance and uniform.
Yeah, 100%, dude. 100%.
And I'm not even the most harpy kind of guy on that kind of stuff, but that goes as far as body composition and appearance and haircuts and all that kind of stuff. It's you're wearing something that people have been wearing for a long time, and many people have lost their life in service in those uniforms. And I don't know. I think the military is going to continue going deeper and deeper into the not progressivism, but just kind of letting things get looser and looser. It is what it is.
But it's kind of like a double-ended sword, where like you're making it comfortable for the people who are in the military, which is like obviously a good thing because maybe it helps, mental health, which is definitely a huge thing. It kind of maybe helps morale in a sense. But then there is some people who are kind of like on that boat where you're on right now, where you're like, yeah, that's great and all, but I have a different standing. Like everyone has their views on the uniform. I kind of view it the same way as you. Like my grandpa wore the same, not the same exact one, not even the same camis. But like everyone has their reason why they joined the military, right? So I definitely keep that in the back of my mind. I'm all about like wearing a uniform and wearing it properly, except for steel-toed boots. I don't wear those things. Fuck those.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. It's so dumb. Just don't let stuff fall on your foot. Like, you've been weary of your toes your whole life. Yeah. You've always thought, okay, I don't want to drop this on my toes. And you get in the Navy, they're like, well, you're going to drop stuff on your toes unless you have steel-toed boots on. This has worked for 20 years, and now it's not working somehow? Come on, man.
I went to college, all right?
I went to college for a year and a half, you idiots.
Oh, God, I love it. All right, so, like, I forgot what we were. We just keep going.
A school.
We're on the best topic, but off topic all the time.
Oh, yeah. I can't stay on topic, man.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, we have the attention spans of what are those bugs called in? What'd you call them? Tiggers?
Chiggers.
Tigger. What the fuck, Tigger? I'm thinking Winnie the Pooh. I don't know. Oh, actually, speaking of, getting back to it, that's what I wanted to know. So you're a California native, right? But then you also lived in Texas for a little bit. Mm-hmm. I know people are probably going to get pissed off about this one. What's better, Whataburger or In-N-Out?
Whataburger was better until it got bought out by a company in Chicago, and now Whataburger is very much less than it used to be. So I would say at the moment, In-N-Out is better. You get that, what is that 4x4 or something, whatever it's called?
Jesus Christ. Hey, what that mouth do?
It'd be eating, man.
4x4. Yeah, they got like 4x4. That was one of my next questions. Is like what's your order? Everybody that I've talked to from California, either on the podcast or off, and I find out they're from California or they've had In-N-Out, I always ask them, "What's your order?" I don't know why, I just have it.
It's a good question. You can tell a lot by someone based off their order.
Yeah.
It's whatever the 4-patty sandwich is, the burger they have is. And, I get the fries with the animal style, but the fries suck. They're really bad. They don't taste good.
They taste like cardboard.
Yeah, no, they taste... it really doesn't make any sense. I don't know if they're using, like, non-GMO potatoes or something, but they need to get a hold of their potato guy. Yeah. Because they suck. I'll go to McDonald's and I'll slurp them things down with a bottle ranch.
Oh, disgusting, dude. Are
you a blue cheese guy yet?
Dude, I'd rather go back to boot camp than dip one French fry in ranch.
Dude, you're
Fuck that. Hey, I know we're getting off topic again, but I kind of do want to ask you, right? Would you rather... So we're both Seabees, right? So we both go on, like, let's just say a main body deployment. Would you rather go on a main body deployment for 6 months with whatever pay we get, you know that number, or do boot camp all over again with none of the knowledge you have today?
So go to boot camp like I was when I went to boot camp, right?
Yep.
Or just do another 6-month deployment?
Yeah.
I'd do a 6-month deployment. I like deployment.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, all right, better. COVID deployment. And now I got you thinking.
Hey, you got to remember, we were working 3 days a week.
I think it's great, but it was the dumbness that came with it as far as like... Yeah.
Dude, I still have a video on my phone of us in that sweatshop making fucking masks.
Oh, that was like a volunteer thing, though. That was kind of cool.
No, it was a duty section thing
Oh
and they
shit!
told you to do it.
Oh.
And it was the one day where it was kind of a volunteer thing, but if no one volunteered, they're going to pick someone.
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
I remember I was like, you know what? I've been playing Call of Duty for 48 hours straight. I'm going to go do this. And it was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
The officer in there was treating me like I was a child because I kept getting the thing jammed up. It's hot. It's hot as shit in the building. I'm still wearing my mask.
Yeah.
And they're like, here I am manufacturing this. Like the thread lines were all messed up. It was the stupidest thing I've ever done.
Dumb. And then 2 days later, you're walking down the street and you see somebody wearing like that mask that you made it, and they just look stupid. You're like, oh god, my bad, bro.
Well, remember it started when COVID first happened. It was. Yeah, you can use anything. So people were cutting brown T-shirts up. They were, like knitting things and all sorts of stuff. And then it was those, like, kind of remember those foamy masks that were really breathable?
Yeah, because we went to the Air Force Base and we bought them. Like, we bought masks from the military store, like on base, and they were like, "Nope, can't wear them." And I was like, "Why?"
Yep.
Like, we're doing construction. It's 150,000 degrees outside, and I'm digging a hole by hand because you can't get me a driver to get a skid steer. Like, no, this is bullshit.
Because we didn't plan for this at all.
Yeah. But you know what? It's times like that where like, it's some of the best fun that I've had. It was that project where we did like the railings.
Oh, you and Dallas and them?
Yeah, me, Dallas, Big Mikey, and maybe one or two other people. That was
you guys were just over there like rolling down the hill and shit.
Yeah. I think we worked, and even like, hey, sir, if you hear this now, my bad. But they had like the little officers, like galley over there. So we would like go in there to like obviously like use the restroom or like get water, but there was air conditioning in there. So sometimes we would definitely spend a little too long, like sitting in the lobby just getting air conditioned. So we probably worked on that project for a total of like 4 hours, but it took us about 5 weeks to do it.
The officers are like, we're going to have to install cameras up here. These motherfuckers are eating our shit.
Yeah.
I loved going up there, dude. It was nice up there. AC, had a good view. It was nice.
That was one of the best things was the view. The view was I can still see it if I close my eyes. Next time I'm driving, I'm gonna close my eyes and see the view. Like, wow, it's a lot brighter than I thought it was.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, no, that was definitely a fun time.
It was.
And then I remember one night we were all hanging out, like drinking and like having a barbecue. And they're like, mask on. I'm like, how am I going to drink something? Or how am I going to eat something? They're like, pull it down, take a sip, put it up. I'm like, all right, now we're getting a little crazy.
Yeah, it got so, like, the lines got so muddled between really actively trying to avoid getting COVID and just doing, like, these little weird things to, like, have an image of trying to get rid of COVID or to prevent COVID.
Yeah.
And it just got dumber. It even got dumber when we got back to the United States because it was, you can have it off outside, and then it was back on outside. But if you're inside and you're eating, you can have it off. It was so stupid.
Yeah, it was one of those things that, like, where no one really knew what was going on because it was still so new, and it was constantly changing. It was going left and right like crazy. So like everyone was just trying to like keep it consolidated and just do whatever they can. But what I liked about it was if you were sick, you got days off. When you came home from deployment, you had a quarantine for 2 weeks. So, because I moved into an apartment right from deployment, so I had 2 weeks to get my life together in my apartment, and then also just like just enjoy getting military pay and having an apartment in the military. I didn't have that prior to me joining. It was like a completely different life.
Well, that's the nice thing about the military is it can really set you up well and get you on your feet at a relatively young age too, especially with some of these guys joining at 17, 18 years old. And all you really have to do is put a decent amount of effort into it. You don't have to go out there and freaking be the guy volunteering for every single thing. You just got to do some stuff. You just got to put yourself out there a little bit, and you can do well and pick up rank and get housing allowance. And it's really not that bad of a job, man. Like, I've heard some bad stories of people, going to specific commands where the leadership is toxic and stuff. But most, at least in our community, I think most people have a decent time. Besides those people that didn't adapt well, couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Alcohol problems, whatever it is, you name it. But it ain't a big deal, man.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever obviously everyone has their day where they're just like, this place sucks and yada yada yada. But I don't think I've ever had like a chain of command or someone higher up that was actually just like a complete like POS. Everyone for the most part was very realistic and very helpful. Showed me how to update my NFAS finally. So that was good.
Yeah. I just did that the other day.
Yeah, I still have to, but I really, whatever. I'm here, man. They want to know they can find me on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Like, hey, has your mom's name changed? No.
Yeah. No, it hasn't. Even if it did, I don't even think I knew about it. So that's my bad.
Is your dad still your dad? Yes, he is.
You know what? That's right. I forgot to change that. He's not no more. Something happened in the past 3 weeks since I updated it last.
Yeah. He's become a Power Ranger, so he's not my dad anymore.
Yeah. He's into fuzzies and Magic the Gathering now.
He's a furry, diehard.
Oh yeah, what do I call them? Fuzzies? Yeah.
Fuzzies.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. It's all new to me. I'm still learning. I feel like I'm like old school where I don't really like use my phone like other people do. People are like, oh, just download this and just double tap and ask Siri. I'm like, who the fuck is Siri? I changed Siri on my phone because I got tired of this girl that I don't know telling me what to do. So I made it
annoying.
I made it funny. I made it this Irish guy now or English guy just because it's funnier when I ask him to do shit.
Does he sound like Bill Burr now?
I don't know, dude, but it's a lot of fun. He's like, okay, I'm on it. I'm like, yeah, you are.
I've only met a few people that use Siri like religiously. And one of them is someone the one from Kentucky.
Hey Siri.
Yeah.
What is my truck's horsepower?
Yeah. Hey Siri, get my cousin's location right now. Oh shit, she's behind me. Good times, man. Hey, if you know who you are, it is what it is.
If you know who you are, text me after this comes out. And I'll make fun of you more.
Yeah. Hop on Xbox. We'll put some search.
But also, I love you.
Yeah, facts. Forever and a day. Hayden, a little advice, a little light to shed on people who maybe just got BAH, right? Because your story is a little different. You're actually filming. We're doing this podcast. I'm at my setup, and where are you right now?
I am at an RV park in San Diego, actually San Ysidro, which is close to San Diego. I am a couple exits from the Mexico-California border.
Nice. But you went the route where you didn't use all that money to go get an apartment. You got yourself an RV home.
Yeah, so, some of you guys out there that are listening to this, and maybe in the future, don't let your BAH get all taken. I get it if you have a couple kids, you want to stay on base, because it's safe, whatever. But if you're a single dude or girl out there, definitely make your stuff go far, whether that's having roommates or doing what I'm doing right now. California BAH is pretty high, and I am paying like a third of what it is. So it's a good way to get your bank account set up, start investing, get into some dividend funds, set yourself up for the future, you name it. Don't be one of those guys who goes out and buys a super fancy $70,000 car and doesn't put anything away and then ends up getting out of the military with nothing to show for it.
Yeah, besides debt.
Besides debt, end up working at a skating rink. Yeah, man, it's definitely got to play your cards right, and that goes for while you're in the lower ranks too. Use deployment to save money. Turn off your phone. Do whatever you got to do. Don't enjoy yourself. I would say being in those lower ranks is a lot like being a freshman or sophomore in college.
Yeah.
You're living in the barracks. This is kind of your time to like mess around with low consequences. Just make sure that you don't go get the fancy car when you can't really afford it. Paying $600 for a car and insurance a month is eating up damn near half your pay as an E2 or E3. Get that cheap car. Go get a $1,000, $2,000 car. Pay cash for it, and just enjoy your time with your friends. Drink if you drink responsibly. Go out, go on trips, go camping, go to the beach. Whatever it is, save that money for those midnight trips to Froyo. Whatever it is, it's going to be time that you can never get back. That's the one thing that's been crazy about to me coming to a new duty station and leaving Ventura and my first battalion behind is I don't know. You spend I personally spent every single day with my friends. I had a core group of friends. I spent every single day with them for essentially 5 years. And that time goes by real fast. And when people talk about missing the military and missing their friends and stuff, it's usually that first tour is what they miss the most because you're all in the same shitty place together. You're all in the barracks smelling each other's farts. You're all in the barracks listening to freaking Skeeter's diesel truck rev up at 3 o'clock in the morning. All that kind of stuff. Sounds like a racetrack out there. It's awesome. Save your money on the right things.
Lionel Coinbank. You remember that commercial? Save your money. Dude, that shit lives in my head rent free. Anyway, though, one reason why I do bring that up is because what I've noticed is that RV homes or mobile homes or trailers, whatever you want to call them, right? The military actually has like a lot of resources for using those. Most of the times, bases have like RV parks and trailer parks where you can hook all that stuff up, right?
Yeah. The thing is with those ones on bases, they generally follow suit with the rising cost of or the rising allowance of BAH.
Gotcha.
So yeah, like the one in Ventura was $1,650 a month, which is pretty high for a piece of concrete with a power and sewer hookup, in my opinion. So I shopped around and I ended up living out in town and that was fine for me. Depends on the area too. Like I'm sure in Gulfport, Mississippi, it's probably like $3 a month to rent down there.
What about in Kentucky?
In Kentucky, you're in the negatives. They're asking you to live there.
Yeah,
but yeah, it is you got to factor into with what you're actually spending on the camper. If you're getting it out on a loan, you got to factor in that amount. How much that's going to be a month because it's not just that space rental. It's not just that $1,600. It's camper, monthly camper rent plus insurance, and you also have to have a truck to tow that thing around unless you're okay with renting a truck every time you need to move it. It does add up, which is why I try to go super low with my actual rent number.
Yeah,
which is why I live on the side of I-5. I can hear motorcycles all night.
Yeah, I heard them a couple of times.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But, I snored too loud to even hear them, so it is what it is.
But you, oh, shit, what was I going to say? Oh, one thing, like, when you did first get it, or you told me you were going to get one, I was like, dude, honestly, from, like, a financial standpoint, that's a great investment because, yes, you're paying money for it now, but when you're finally all said and done, you sell this camper. And you get that money back. Like people buy cars and they're not going to sell the car really. Or, hopefully, nothing bad happens while they're driving and nothing bad happens to the car. But that camper, you can take it whenever you're done with your career or, you have wife and kids and just sell it or just keep it. Use it as like your little man cave.
Oh yeah. I'm contemplating getting out after this contract or not. I don't know yet, but if I do, I'll have a place to live already. I can literally go anywhere in the country.
Yep.
Drive my truck and trailer out there and live and figure out what I need to do, and generally, be living cheaper than getting an apartment. And that's the other thing with when I was planning on doing all this stuff. was, do I want to go give someone $1,200, I mean, a good apartment here is like $2,500. Do I want to go give someone all this money and pay their, property bills and all that stuff? Or do I want to give some cheap place, a couple $100 and then, add into ownership for myself on this camper? Because, yeah, I mean, I'll never get what I'm going to pay for it. It's a camper. They depreciate pretty quickly, but I will get something. You'll never get anything back out of an apartment.
No,
And
exactly.
more than likely, you'll lose that security deposit, too, because playing too many games on the Call of Duty and you hit the wall or something.
Yeah, I mean, they find the littlest thing. They're like, oh, well, the carpet needs to be replaced because it's a annual thing. I'm like, but my lease is an annual thing. They're like, yeah, we know. I'm like, all right, great.
Yeah.
I've definitely gone from apartment to apartment.
Yeah.
I was never really like, for the camper life because I had a roommate, so it was a little cheaper. So it ended up working out for me, and now me and my wife live together, obviously, right? So the rent's a little easier. But
Yeah.
I would have definitely loved to do the camper thing. Even like if you take leave, throw that thing on a hitch and take it wherever you want to go, and you can,
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey, man, when you're living that camper life, the sky's the goddamn limit. I'm telling you what.
it's like a whole different community too, huh?
Oh, dude, it's crazy out here, man. It's just awesome. I mean, I tell you, the laundry room gets wild.
The laundry. You guys have laundry rooms?
The men's bathroom gets crazy on Friday nights.
I was gonna say. Oh, I got you.
No, just joking. But
I was gonna say, well, if you ever walked into your bathroom on your camper and there's someone else in there,
oh,
like, hey,
yeah.
you gonna help? You gonna pay half the sewage bill this month, or
I just make sure that he flushes the toilet and cleans the bowl, and we're good.
and we're good, yeah. Wait, what did you have to eat today? Did you have Panda Express?
Yeah, smells a little sweet and sour.
All right, Hayden. Well, before I let you go, I do want to know: is there anything that you wish to talk about that we didn't cover, or questions that I didn't ask that you'd want to talk about?
Let's see. I did want to say, anyone that's planning on the border of enlisting or whatever it is in the Navy, you will go see places. You will get experiences. I'm tired of seeing people say that their entire military experience was bad. Some of it's going to be bad and some of it's going to be good. But when you look back at a 5-6 year time span, when I do, at least personally, I don't remember the crappy times. I remember the good times, and I think about the bad times as being something that built my character. So, wanted to say that, and also wanted to say that make your choice well before you enlist. I know a lot of people that ended up getting crappy jobs in the military, and they're like, "Well, no one told me."
Yeah.
Man, Reddit has been out for a long time, and people from the military have been posting on Reddit for a long time. Get on Reddit, look up the job, see what people have to say about it.
Yeah.
Do your own research. It's not that hard.
Yeah, there's even YouTube. It's like I've never used YouTube really. I was never.
It's because you're old.
Yeah, dude. I remember in high school, this dude would wear like this shirt, and it had like a play button on him. What the fuck is that? Like, I don't get it. And then I realized it was YouTube, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But I never used YouTube until like the COVID deployment when I had literally nothing else to do, and I was like, oh dude, YouTube's actually pretty dope. But yeah, man, if you need to know how to fucking, shuck corn or what jobs are in the world or how to change a tire, literally there's a video for every single thing on YouTube. So
oh yeah.
Do your
everything.
research is definitely something that not only you, not only me, but everyone else that I've talked to has
Done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's a simple thing, but it can keep you out of trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Hayden, any questions for me?
No, I don't think so. That was thanks for having me on. It was really good talking to you.
Yeah, of course.
Glad
man.
to share my experience and hopefully help some people make a decision someday. Being a CB is a cool gig. I've done a lot of cool stuff, been a lot of cool places. Wouldn't take any of it back ever. It's been a good time, and it led me to meet people like you. So
Yeah. Like I would have never, half the people, not even half, all of the people that I've met in the military, I would have never have talked to or met on like, the outside. I'll say, but honestly, like forever grateful for the people and the places and the things I've encountered throughout my career, and I'm sure you can say the same, because I see you and like you're like like we all have like our different friend groups, right? But like you and your friend group were like some of like the coolest dudes who like did everything together and just knew how to have a good time. Like those are some of the best memories, best core memories you're never gonna forget.
no, never. And you're right. I mean, it is. It's like those memes where we're talking about military parties, and you got like the dude from the hood, and then you got the country guy, and you got the dude from like Chinatown, and they're all hanging out together playing freaking cup pong. It brings all sorts of different types of people together, and there's some of those guys out there that aren't well rounded that end up getting into the military and learn real quick how to present themselves to the rest of the world and how to interact with people that they weren't really comfortable with before. That's another good positive as well. That's
Facts.
a double negative, but
who's counting?
Who's counting?
Yeah,
good positive.
I'm not good at history, dude. Shut up. All right, Hayden. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope you never find a random person using your toilet in your RV. And
I hope I do.
Yeah, if you do, we gotta hop on and do another pod. I have to hear all about that.
Oh, I'm gonna take a picture.
You FaceTime me. Hey Siri, can you FaceTime Vinny?
Vincent, no, Vinny. God damn it. God.
Son of a bitch, Clyde. Get in the tree. All right, Hayden. Thank you very much.
All right.
Freedom Empire. We'll catch you next time on the pod.
Have a good one, Vinny.
Views presented are those of the speaker, and the guest do not necessarily represent the views of the Department of Defense or its components. Neither the Department of Defense or its components bears any responsibility for the accuracy, legality, or content of the views discussed on this podcast. Now, without further ado, let's get into this.